up? What is up?
Yo. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, what's good?
Got that. Hold on. I think they can hear us. Hold on. Give me a second.
Yo.
I think they can hear us. This is a test, guys. Hey, what's going on, Matt?
Test this shit all the way around. Give me a good lubrication test.
Hold on. Let me mute us.
Yeah, I heard.
Let me mute this real quick.
Holy hell. I turned on the volume from YouTube. That shit was loud.
Give me a second.
Are we going to talk about... All right, hold on. Yeah, we are going to talk about the PS5 8K shit.
Give me a second. I gotta mute us. We're like, it's in the pre-game music here. Hold on. Give me a sec. Give me a second. I gotta mute us. We're like, it's in the pre-game. Mute, motherfucker. Desktop audio. I don't know.
Say now nobody wants to talk. Like, they can hear us. Let's hear all this pre-game dumb shit.
Yeah, mute us already, god damn it. So I can say what I want about anyone I want.
It's funny. I can hear you in the background.
I don't think he did it.
Hey, how am I supposed to mute us? How am I supposed to mute us when we're doing this live stream shit? Don't you have the shit running in the background? How do you like have your pregame music going and no one can hear you? All right. Let's do this. How about that? What's up, everybody? It's SaltiestGaming. We're back after a 1-week hiatus for Thanksgiving. You gotta forgive me, people. I got my new computer and playing around with it. It's like I'm learning how to walk. You got all this shit you got to do. But yeah, I just trying to make this podcast better for you guys. Slowly but surely, we'll figure out the pregame stuff. Yeah, the music was a little bit sensual, so gotta forgive me on that. Yeah. So let us know about the volumes. I can adjust those. If I'm too loud or they're too loud, let me know. We're at 00, huh? Okay. All right.
100.
Actually, I
Okay.
think you guys were muted, but maybe you weren't. I don't know. So you can only
proud of
us.
you.
Okay. Good,
You were
good.
muted. Now we're back.
That was the plan. Guys. They were talking some crazy shit. I had to mute them. So anyway, we're back, guys. It's good to be back. I have my new computer. It's running good. How you guys doing tonight? Like I said, it's going to be a learning process. I'm going to be doing new shit. As you can see, we got this background. It's like animated and shit. It's kind of crazy, right? So we'll be doing that. We'll be putting in some new intro music. Probably just do it like 2 minutes before, maybe. I don't know. We got to figure out how we can be muted so we don't like say some dumb shit pregame.
No, we need to say all the dumb stuff.
So, anyways, it's good to be back. Let's start off with our intros. We got Nintendo Direct. What's going on, man?
Man, just doing what I'm doing. Glad to be back after this Thanksgiving, that break. I was funny. I joked and texted you, said, "Hey, man, I missed the podcast last night. Sorry." And it was Thanksgiving, so it was a funny joke. But I really did miss being on the podcast, like real talk. And glad to be here right now, just playing some Pokemon, trying to beat this gym leader. And that's really what I'm doing right now.
All right, you're saying I sound like a robot. Okay. Matthew Paris with the $10 super chat, just sharing the love. Keep up the awesome work, gents. Hit the like button, and as always, stay salty. That's what I'm talking about. Let me see. Let me just make sure here. Default microphone. I don't know why I'd be sounding 2 mics are on. Shouldn't be.
I'm only hearing one from you.
Yeah.
I know what he's talking about, though. You may have 2 mics set on OBS, or
let me mute this one. Let me know if that helps. I muted the mic audio on the Streamlabs. Sorry, guys, this is a clusterfuck of a lifetime already. So anyway, let me know if that changes things. If I'm muted,
then better. I heard it.
Okay, cool. Salty in the bathroom. Perfect. Okay. So anyway, Nintendo Direct. Thanks for being here, man. We got some good Nintendo news going on that we'll get into. Next up, we got Punk Kiddish Gaming, aka Mustache Ride 69.
No, I must say you call him by his real name, Mustache Ride 69. Yes. That's what it is.
Yes.
Nobody knows my real name, okay? Nobody. Nah, man, it's good to be back. It's like you wait for the break and it is enjoyable, but then like that day comes, you're like, all right, this is cool, day off. But then a couple days go by, you're like, all right, now I'm ready to talk games again. What the hell's going on, dude? So today it's so funny. Everybody, I made a tweet earlier in the week about like lack of sleep and just like being tired of shit. And then so I'm pumped for the podcast today. I'm feeling good. And like I get home and then I'm just like tired as fuck, dude. I've just been lounging on my couch, trying not to fall asleep, watching my daughter. I'm like, I got the podcast and I gotta like fucking spark up or something. I don't know. I'm good now, but you know what I'm talking about, man. It's like it's like it catches up to you and then like you just want to fucking crash hard, dude. But I'm good, man. Glad to be back to talk to you cool cats.
Awesome. Well, my sleep schedule's fucked up too, so we're on the same page there. Titan Drago, what's going on, man?
What's up, everyone? Salty in the bathrooms. You wash your hands? Yes? No? Anyways.
Usual.
Yeah. I missed all you guys over the Thanksgiving week, man. I love doing this podcast, and it was my first, since being a permanent member, it was my first week I missed because we didn't do it, but I missed everyone joking around in the chat and stuff and laughs and et cetera, et cetera. And I can't wait to have some more tonight, so let's do it.
Awesome. We got 50 people watching. Let's hit that like button and share it out on Twitter. I fucked things up pre-game, so that's probably the reason why we got to get some people in there. They're like, oh, you got this fucking porn music going on. I'm out of here. Anyway, let's get into our first topic of the night. We have young Fortnite players being sent to rehab. They're playing like every minute of every day, man. It's already been reported that over 200 divorces were caused in the UK, cases in the UK, and now kids are being sent to rehab. What is this shit? Guys.
Dude, you read these articles and like you don't know whether you want to laugh. Cause part of me wants to laugh. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But then
you do want to laugh.
Yeah, you do need to laugh. But then like, you get that other half. You're just like, this is some serious shit, I guess. I mean, I think the lady said in that article about the kid playing like 12 hours a day. I mean, come on. At what point do you got to parent? At some point, you gotta cut ties. Turn off the damn internet. Something. Go unplug the damn router and take the power cord. I don't know. It's insane, dude. It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny because in one of my live streams that I do, like I talked about this that they were studying whether Fortnite was as addictive as heroin to kids.
Yeah.
So that they were doing studies and they were showing that when kids play this game, certain games, yada yada yada, it sparks a chemical reaction in your brain that's similar to what would happen if you did heroin. And they're saying that kids' brains can't take it or whatnot, studies and whatnot. And then I remember reading something about this kid in Australia who was 13 years old whose mom took his PS4 away because he couldn't play Fortnite, and he literally assaulted his mom and like pulled a knife on her and stuff. Like, it's getting real out here in the Fortnite.
Thing is, there's always going to be extreme. There's always going to be extreme cases here and there.
Yeah, I get that. Like, I
hate it when people take those extreme cases and group them up into the whole of people. That's what I can't.
And that was my point in my stream. I was like, look, yeah, I get it. These games are addicting, whatnot. Do not allow this to let people say, oh my gosh, video games are addicting, and let the government or whoever the powers that may be get into the industry. Like, that's the last thing you want. So I'm just going to say this right now. Gamers as a community, police ourselves, please police ourselves.
The funny thing is, all those marriages that got a divorce, all those people getting divorced, I hope at least some of those marriages got annulments instead of like legitimate divorces. It's like, he didn't tell me he was an addictive gamer. That's the first thing I did while I was dating when I was a single man back in the day. I said, there's two things you need to know about me. One, I play a ridiculous amount of video games, and that ain't going to change. Two, my first son's going to be named Rocky. And that was it.
Rocky.
So my mom was always like, good luck finding a girl that'll let you name your son Rocky. And I was like, well, I did it.
Yeah, my wife knew that I played video games too. Like when we were dating, it wasn't like a surprise. Like I didn't try to hide it from her, So I kind of let her know
that my wife liked playing video games. That's what I did. So
boom, gotcha, bitch. No,
I can't be out here with girls that want to look at me for playing video games. Like, let me just find one that likes playing video games.
Hey, chat, let us know if you guys play Fortnite. I don't play that game anymore, really. I kind of got over it. My kid doesn't really play it. My wife doesn't play it. We're all pretty much done with it. So we're not going to be addicted like heroin. Luckily, my kid has no interest in the game anymore, so that's cool. Let us know if you guys have any kind of relationship issues due to video games.
Please let us know.
Maybe you don't want to share that information. Maybe you do. Maybe you had some problems back in the past that you had to overcome. Let's talk about that. It's an interesting topic. I think this subject kind of goes down to a lot of different things. I think that it kind of touches upon loot boxes and microtransactions and the ages of when people pick up video games, because it's an interesting topic because young kids, they're still developing neural pathways and all these their brains are developing. So when they're introduced to these things at an early age, we don't really know what kind of effects it has until later on they do studies, right? So when they're playing Fortnite 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, you can imagine what that's doing to their brain, right? It's addictive, and it's just like anything. It's like TV or eating or whatever. If you don't control those things, they're going to be formed in your brain as neural pathways, and it's an addiction. And that's the problem here, because Fortnite blows up. It's just a big part of the culture. You see it everywhere. It's for sale in Walmart. They have kiosks. There's T-shirts, and kids, if you don't play Fortnite at school, you probably get made fun of. Like, what's your KD? I don't know what they talk about in school these days, but I know Fortnite is a huge thing. And these kids, I mean, it's up to the parents, unfortunately, and a lot of times the parents don't parent, and that's just the way it goes. But it should be interesting to see what kind of effects these type of games have with kids, and it kind of leads into the next topic. But before that happens, we got a special announcement. If he's ready to join, his name is Bloody Knuckles. Please make your entrance anytime, sir. We have a special announcement for Bloody Knuckles. He was able to change his schedule, fortunately, so he'll be rejoining the cast full time. Welcome back, Bloody.
That's funny.
That's right, baby.
That's right. How's it going, buddy?
Damn.
What an entrance!
That's right.
Right?
I didn't know.
Man,
Was
I
that
didn't even know.
planned?
Yeah,
That was nice. Bravo.
No, I said, ooh.
That's right, bitches. The boys back in the house.
Little brother's
Nice,
back. in the
dude.
chat.
Welcome back, dude.
Welcome
What's
back,
up?
Bloody Knuckles, to the fold of the Saltiest Gaming podcast. How have you been, man?
Oh man, I've been phenomenal. It's so great. You know what's funny is I told this to Salty about 2 weeks ago that my schedule was changing so that way I could make some new changes. And as soon as I opened up my schedule for Thursday, I told him, I was like, hey, I can come back. And he wanted to make an announcement. I said, nah, fuck that. We're going to do this right. So I said, don't say anything and wait for the show to come out, and I'll just make it as big as I can. So I was just sitting here waiting with my phone for him to tell me to come on so that way I can play that intro.
He's just always wanted to make that
John Cena
intro, you know?
Yeah, you're damn right.
And his
I was
name
like, the champ is here, baby.
Knuckles. Ah.
So,
Nice.
Bloody,
And that maybe can also bring back the Jeopardy tone. Can you bring that back too?
oh my God, bring it back. Let's
Oh,
bring it
I'm
all
sorry
back.
because is it because I talk too long?
I love
So,
you.
Bloody Knuckles.
Uh-huh.
We've been talking about kids getting addicted to Fortnite. Do you have any thoughts on that real quick? Like, some kids are playing 12
Fuck
to 14.
Fortnite, just do heroin. That's it.
Shit. Okay. Next.
Heard it here first, folks.
So basically, this leads us into our next topic, and that's the fact that the government's getting involved in loot boxes in America. This has been happening overseas. We've seen a lot of different governments getting involved. I'm not sure the specific names of these governments, but you guys, it's in Europe is where it's been linked to, but now America's getting involved, and that has to do with a lot of people in the chat room. So they're going to start investigating loot boxes, and the Federal Trade Commission is going to be investigating. They might open up some lawsuits, and this shit might get crazy because, as you know, I don't know, there's some people in the government, I'm not going to name names. Trump, he's trying to attack video games as is, and then now we got the Federal Trade Commission open up shit, and this is crazy. I don't want to get, too political here, but I mean, we go certain ways, and I mean, you open doors, you start making laws against video games. I mean, it's very easy to kind of change those a little bit, and I mean, it starts impeding on your rights. So anyway, what do you guys think of this? It's opened up Pandora's box.
I got you real quick. All I have to say is this, man. What disappoints me is that, remember whenever the ESRB came into play, the government was trying to get in, and the ESRB was like, no, they got the ESRB together. Like, no, we can police ourselves. We don't need your help. We can police ourselves. Don't worry. Just stay out of the video game industry. That's what the ESRB was for, right? And after a while, it seemed like the gaming industry got in cahoots with the ESRB to make sure, things got past what they wanted and all this other junk. And then they pushed the limits with this loot box thing. And it's just, man, I hate it, dude. Like, y'all need to dial it back. Like, they kept pushing the limits with these loot crates, kept pushing the limits, trying to squeeze them in here and there until the point now the government's going to step in. Really, the video game industry has no one to blame but themselves. I know that a lot of people want to say, well, it's on the gamers. The gamers could have fought back by not purchasing them, and they could have fought back by voting with their wallets. And I get that, yes. But whenever it seems to be getting shoved down our throats, no matter what, and it seems like they're just hoping on banking that the younger generation will put up with it, and that seems to be the trend there. Like, yeah. And I think that now the government has no choice but to get involved with it and sort of regulate it. And that kind of scares me as to see what they will end up doing. That's the last thing you want, is the government regulating your video game and our medium. That's the last thing you want.
Exactly.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out / salute to Ron Pato in the chat, who is 32 years active in the military.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Congratulations, and I respect you a lot for that. But as far as like, to me, this situation is, our loot crates a form of gambling. That's what this all boils down to. And to me, you know, I've worked in the casino industry for going on 10 years now, and to me, if you're paying money for something that you have no clue what you're gonna get in return, that is a gamble. Okay. Yep. And you know what, technically this is even worse, because you're getting nothing of value out of these loot crates. You can't even turn around and sell your account anymore, because your account belongs to the company. You know, like, which that fact, in my opinion, is the bullshit about it all. If you put in, let's call it digital work or digital man hours, or however you want to put it, if you put in that work, you're creating something digital. It should be yours. That's my biggest problem with all this. But like, does this whole thing kind of remind you guys of like the old ass fucks trying to ban video game violence and shit? Because it's almost like they're trying a new tactic to me. Like, remember when the Mortal Kombat days, when they were trying to, it's almost like they're trying a new tactic.
Though, remember, that's where the ESRB came from, because spawned from Mortal Kombat. They said there's violence, and they said, yo, we can regulate ourselves. We're going to create this whole regulation, and that was a settlement here. And now the video game industry, once again, pushing the boundaries, you know, and now the government's going to step in again. This time it's with quote unquote child gambling. Like, this is a thing that people have been talking about for 2 to 3 years now, and it's finally catching up to them. And they kept saying, no, we can do it. No, we'll keep pushing the boundaries. They could have just listened the first time, and then they would. Well,
less and less places are able to do it now, because it's legitimate against the law in a number of different places.
Right. In was it Belgium and countries over in Europe,
cross seas, mostly Europe.
And even EA got in trouble because they freaking told them no. Like, remember that? Like, it's ridiculous.
What country was that with the 2K stuff, where 2K's like, hey, write your
Belgium.
government? Belgium. Okay, yeah.
Belgium.
2K was like, hey, if you want to get these microtransactions, write your government. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, 2K was like, if you want to be good in Belgium, and you're going to have to write your government, tell them you want VC added into Belgium. And then EA just didn't even address it. EA was just like, nope, we have FIFA Ultimate Team. We're going to keep it there. And they got in trouble with the country. Like, Belgium's not playing.
So DJ Xbox fan says, I don't want government in my video games, but something has to be done with these loot boxes. I agree completely. I mean, maybe there's going to be something hashed out behind the scenes, because these companies are huge, right? They got a lot of money going, you know, exchanging hands. And usually, unfortunately, with politics, that's usually how shit gets done, under the table type shit, you know, lobbyists and all this other shit. So if, you know, they can work out some deal like, hey, we're going to ease back on these loot boxes or change them, or something has to be done, because the price of video games has stayed consistent, you know, for years and years. That hasn't really gone up. And then
I don't buy that, though, man.
You don't buy it? You don't think
no,
the price
hell no.
has gone
I
up?
do not accept that as an answer. Just like, does everything have to raise in price over the years? No. I'm not accepting that as an answer.
How do you
I love it.
How do you explain how much Red Dead Redemption 2 cost? I mean,
it's not about explaining the cost. It's about explaining the quality of game you want to make. That's all what it boils down to. You know what? You have more developers. You have more development time. Of course, the game is going to cost more to make. But you know what? They're not going bankrupt. They're making a killing off of that game. That's why games don't have to be more expensive.
Drago, you got to think about this too, okay? While that is true at the same time, and that does have a big aspect, you also got to understand, for them, it's how they can support it continually that keeps in that ad revenue. You got to think, how many times has, over the past 5 years, GTA been on sale? Multiple times, and yet that game still continues to sell and has been the biggest seller since 2013. 5 years straight as being one of the top selling games, has never left, and it's always been full price up until about 3 years ago, where they can sell that game for half price and yet still make money, because that game has almost done 120 million. It is getting close to how many copies of Minecraft have been sold. There's very few companies.
Ross,
hang on.
Stephen Ross, real quick.
I can do that number.
Yeah, true. But all right, I need some clarification from Stephen Ross. He says I'm wrong. Does gas go up and does food prices go up? Yes, they absolutely do. What I don't understand is why do gaming prices have to go up? You understand?
Go up, man. I mean, it's inflation. Yeah. Inflation.
I'm not buying that. You're not buying. You're not.
No,
I'm not. Developers are developers.
It's that. It's like statistics,
Titan,
bro. I mean,
that's basic. That's basic economics. I was like, look at the cost of films. Whenever we adjust for prices,
how does the cost of living have to do with anything?
All right, let me break it down real quick. Okay, you have to pay voice actors, right? They're like actors, right? Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And then so that cost goes up because their cost of living goes up, and you have to pay them more so they can live. Food prices go up. They have to pay for food. You have to pay them more, and then all this stuff goes up. The price of all the shit you got to buy to manufacture whatever you need for mocapping and props and this and that. The cost does go up. Locations, everything.
All that is true. That I'm not debating. That is true. But it comes down to economics. And when it really boils down to is supply and demand. Does the supply meet the demand? These like Red Dead 2 is not in excessive supply. It's out there for everyone. And the demand, right? The demand is like people are demanding this thing. The demand is not low. If the demand was like and you can't, it's not a tangible product. So we're not losing it as the demand goes up. As the demand goes up, these developers profit from it. And that doesn't mean you have to raise or lower the price. The price can stay the same because the supply.
Sorry to break your boxes here, but business, it doesn't mean that just because you have more demand, it doesn't mean that you would raise costs or costs don't go up. It's a business thing. It's not, there's no cap on profits, right?
No, there is a difference because you cannot compare supply and demand from food products to something digital
what do you think about Titan Drago's stance on because there's more demand, there should be what are you talking about? There's more demand, so cost shouldn't go up.
Here's the thing: the cost should go up if the demand is extremely low, right?
Okay.
Wouldn't you think if their cost to make this game, their cost was obviously insane to make this game, right? So if the demand was low, then the price should go up. But that would have to be across the whole. That would have that wouldn't be just on one game. That would be across the whole.
I think you're looking at it the wrong way.
That would be across the whole spectrum of games.
Hop in, buddy. Hop in.
No, I'm telling him is that he's got it backwards.
It is backwards.
No, I do not.
Yeah, when demand is low, prices go down because of the fact that they're trying to sell the product. When demand is high, they up the price because of the fact that there are more people who want it, so they make more money. You're looking at it completely reversed.
This is not a tangible product.
Here's the deal.
This is a digital product. You cannot compare the two. But it is not a tangible product. Therefore, the regular laws of supply and demand don't work.
Hold up. Let me talk real quick. Let me talk. Perfect example of this. Shout out to Randolph Thor in the chat. Perfect example of this is Fallout 76 and Battlefield 5. The demand was low, so what did they do to the cost? They lowered it. Okay? Demand low. You need to lower your price to entice customers to buy the shit.
There you go.
But this is not. You cannot take this on a game by game basis. What I am saying is across the entire spectrum of games. If this happened,
at Fallout 76
then you would have to raise the prices. Yes, you can name a few games that don't fall into those parameters, but it's not a tangible product, so you have to look at the whole.
There's plenty of physical copies.
Yes, that's true.
You're seeing it as a thing like, okay, this isn't physical copies that we have to actually print in a factory, therefore the cost should be lower. But the fact of the matter is all those costs go into digital product. It's like internet. Like just because the demand is low for internet, they have to change their prices or whatever. It's the digital age. You know what I'm saying? Like not everything's tangible, but it takes things to make it upkeep, servers, this and that, right?
Yeah. You're right. The other biggest thing right now, here's the real argument that people have is why is digital the same cost as physical? Because the fact that the reason physical costs 60, Yeah, the reason physical cost 60 is because of the fact that the cost went into production of the CDs, cartridges, and the discs to print them to go to the manufacturer, and then the distribution of them, and then half of those, the price of those went to the retailer, and then the other rest went to the developer, and then so on and so forth. Whereas digital is the same cost, but the thing is that it's coming directly from the developer being sold to a third-party realtor because they're making the keys. A lot of people said that digital should be cheaper, only slightly though, than physical, because of the fact that there is no cost for distribution, there's no cost for making keys and selling those to the third-party realtors at all, and being able to get a bigger return to the companies while also still making a better profit for the realtors that are selling it. So a lot of people were saying that digital should be at least 50 to 55 to where it makes more sense to make up that cost, so that way more is going back to the developer and not more is going into distribution and printing of the physical aspects. Yes, physical still be a big thing, but that's the biggest argument for those. That's why they sell DLC and things like that, because they're trying to help recoup the cost. That's why no game is really $60. You're looking at anywhere between 80 to 100 because you're getting things like season passes and incentives to put more into the game up front than having to monetize over time using things like microtransactions or loot boxes. That's why you see a lot of games. Look at Red Dead. Ultimate Edition gave you early access as well as special stuff in the online, $100 up front, as well as whatever they're going to do DLC wise for the game, which they've already talked about. That's where companies are trying to make money, trying to avoid the microtransaction aspect. But there's other companies that are doubling down. Look at Take-Two. Take-Two has repeatedly said that online microtransactions is how they want to make their money, even though they're going to openly support their online content. Look at GTA Online. That has been the biggest moneymaker for Take-Two for the past 4 years. We're talking multiple $billion year over year, because people want to buy and spend money on that, because they entice people, because they make something worthwhile, even if to us, people who are more hardcore and don't want to put that money towards it, find it as shit.
All right,
no,
so
I'm telling you, both sides of the aspect.
He's going into it, and it's nice. I mean, this is what it comes down to, honestly. Like, I don't think it's debatable that costs go up. It's inflation. I mean, it's just basic economics, and the fact that it's digital or not digital, it doesn't matter. I mean, it takes money to make money, and if it takes more money to make money, it takes more money to make money. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's inflation.
What's wrong with your rationale? Here's what's wrong with it.
Let me. So what I'm trying to say is the thing that we should focus on is, I do think in this digital age, since people are moving towards that, we look at like some of the things that we'll talk about later, and physical sales are down a lot. I mean, across the board, people are moving more digital. They need to look at cutting costs. I mean, maybe $5, $10 base price for a digital game, especially if they're going to change the way that they do monetization for microtransactions. Something has to go. So it's a give and take thing. It's not like, hey, we're going to get rid of loot boxes, we're going to restructure a microtransaction system, and we're going to keep the game the same price. Plus, gamers are saying, we want our DLC for free. It's like, well, you want to have your cake and eat it too. It's a business, you know what I'm saying? So it's a give and take proposition. You can't just take as a consumer. You can't expect these businesses to be like, okay, we're gonna eat it here, we eat it here. You guys get free DLC, get no loot boxes. It's just like, damn.
The only place they eat it is when their game tanks, when they make a terrible game. By your guys' rationale, the price of making Red Dead is extremely high. Therefore, the release price of the game should go up by your guys' rationale. But that's not what happened, because your rationale is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we could debate this till the cows come home, but I think we'll move on to the next topic. I love this debate, though, but you guys can let us know in the comment section if you're watching this on demand or in chat if you think Titan Drago's right, the type of 1, the rest of the panel, type of 2, and we'll move on to the next topic. Sea of Thieves update is coming out. This is pretty interesting. Sea of Thieves is making some waves and headlines. I actually saw some people tweeting out that Sea of Thieves was getting more live views when it came to like Twitch and such compared to Fallout 76. That's not saying much because that game's getting shit on, but you know, Sea of Thieves,
it was on sale for $40, and you can get it for half off at most places physically. Since you want to talk about physical.
Anyway, we'll let that go. So Rare launched this latest free update, and basically they're adding weather conditions, shrouded spoils, and it brings 6 skeleton forts ripe for raiding. With victory rewarding you with ancient bone dust. This is a new material that gives you extra reputation with the Merchant Alliance, while new skeleton ships will also be opening their doors. Budding pirates will also be able to smash up more cursed mermaid statues. Blah, blah, blah. They're adding content. Let us know if you guys are going to hop back into Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is kind of comparable to Fallout 76, and that's why I bring up this update, because it was trashed at the beginning for no content, being boring, lacking, substance. Fallout 76 is getting trashed for similar reasons plus bugginess. Do you think that Sea of Thieves has kind of redeemed itself, or is on the path of redeeming itself, or is it irredeemable? Is it just trash?
Let's get it straight. Let's get it straight real quick. Fallout 76 is getting flack not just because of the fact that it's flopping and everything. It's the whole refund situation. It's the whole what they promised in these different packages situation. Like, they're getting bashed for all of it. So it's not just the fact that the game has no content. But like Sea of Thieves, is it redeemable? I think it can be, but like I said, the thing with Sea of Thieves though, like, I mean, they kind of told us what we were gonna get up front. Like, yeah, it had lacked some content, but we kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into. Like, Fallout 76 is a little bit different situation. I think Sea of Thieves at this point, as long as they keep adding content, I think it'll be redeemable. I mean, people still play the game, so I mean, at least there's that. I don't play it, but I know a lot of people that still do, and they still enjoy it. It's just not my cup of tea to be in a ship and get seasick from the real water.
Kuristina said that it has been redeemed. Type of 1 if you think it has. Type of 2 if you don't think it's redeemable. I haven't played Sea of Thieves in a long time. I was playing it for a while, but I haven't played it. Punk, what's
I
up?
haven't seen a single person on my friends list playing that.
I have 2 or 3, dude. I have 2 or 3. They are just living hard on that game, dude. And they listen to pirate metal. They're weirdos like that. But
pirate metal,
dude, look it up. Pirate metal, it's dope.
Pirate metal. Send the link, please. No.
Yes, send us the link.
I can't send y'all the link, but yeah, man, I think the game is redeemable. It's not a bad game. Like,
the reason I bring it up is it's this games as a service thing, right? People dump on it, and it's like, okay, we release games unfinished, not having the content they need, but like in 2 years they'll be where we want it. It's like No Man's Sky, right? No Man's Sky got blasted for lying about multiplayer content. 2 years down the line, they released this huge update you can play with your friends, and it's redeemed, right? People are saying it's redeemed. Sea of Thieves is on that path, and it's like Fallout 76 releases buggy, unfinished, rushed. And it's like 2 years down the line, are we going to see the same thing with that? That's the problem with these games as a service things. It's because they have this tendency to come out unfinished and trash, man. So anybody else have any comments on Sea of Thieves, man, or games as a service, Fallout 76, all this stuff?
Yeah, I think I got a much less debatable opinion on this matter. It's like, could you guys imagine? You know, how you say you get seasick. Some people got that, whatever. I didn't, whatever. But it's like, could you imagine Sea of Thieves in VR? Like, how sick you would get? That would be miserable. But anyways, the weather effects is a good addition, I thought. But my biggest takeaway from this, as I read this, was the update was for more customization, which in my opinion, they're still like light years behind of where they should be. But didn't they add PvP in the last update? Like, that sounds cool. Like, I gotta load this game up sometime. All these updates are making me want to load it back up. That's for sure. And that's a win in some form or fashion.
I don't think the PvP update's out yet. I think that's going to be coming out. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's coming out later. Yeah. But with all the new, a lot of people that I've talked to who still play the game say that the Megalodons are really cool because they add a variety to those. All the Bilge Rat adventures have been really interesting. The curse ships add such a unique dynamic. The new islands with the Forsaken Shores has been really fun. The Kraken now attacks all boats and goes real crazy. So they said that it really has evolved for the better, and people were dismissing it too quickly.
I think that Sea of Thieves just needs some land-based animals, maybe a huge crab or some other shit.
That's what a few people have said.
Varied enemies on the land. I think that'd be cool.
Gorilla.
You know,
I want to fight a gorilla.
Gorillas, crabs, whatever. Let us know what kind of enemies you want to see in Sea of Thieves.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong, that'd be some shit. We got a super chat from Yobi Dren Clown. He's a great supporter of the Saltiest Gaming podcast, the channel in general, a great member of the community. Check him out on Twitter and all that. Peace, love, life to the panel. Why do you think games are released unfinished? Is it because the guys in the black and white suits, aka the investors, putting the pressure on? Yes, # super salty. I think that's exactly the reason, honestly. I mean, they're pulling the strings behind the scenes, right? They're pulling the strings. It's like a perfect example of this is Destiny, right? Destiny's going this up and down cycle. It's a battle between Activision, its investors, the stocks, and Bungie, the developer, and then its player base. Its player base wants a more hardcore game. The stocks and the investors want this casual-based game, and it's a clash. It's a consistent clash, and they're like, you guys need to meet these figures, and when they meet those figures, or they don't, even if it's a small figure, they're like, they put pressure on Bungie and say, hey, you need to monetize your shit. You need to get it, change it. It doesn't matter if your consumer base is happy or not. We have these figures. We have these analytics. You need to meet those. If you don't, then you're in trouble, right? It's like the boss. He's pushing his foot on you on your deadlines. That's the case, right? What do you guys think?
I agree. Like it's a known fact that like EA puts these deadlines on their developers. Like it's known that they put these deadlines on their studios, and it just comes down to these companies and these publishers saying, look, this needs to be out by this time. We need to hit our quarterly earnings here. If we don't do that, we're going to bust. Put the game out. We know you can put a patch out. It all comes down to the publishers. I mean, rarely does it come down to the studios. Rarely. Most of the time, it's publishers pushing them and demanding them to get it out by a deadline that they know they probably can't meet. But they put it out, and then they say, here comes your patch. We fixed it.
Just look at.
But does it actually seem like the more like the big boys and like the EAs and the Activisions?
It is the most. That's why
you never see like the small companies. I mean, they might have something that's like they don't have the funds to make it like the best they can, but you can tell they tried their best compared to people that have the big money, and then shit still comes out.
It's true. I mean, it comes down to shareholders and. Do you guys have investors in your company? Because some of these smaller developers, they don't have that, right? It's their responsibility to get their product out, and a lot of times it's a huge risk. It could put your company under if your shit flops. You know what I'm saying? With these other companies, they have deadlines that they need to meet and shareholders that they have to impress because those are the guys. You know what I'm saying? Like that's behind the company and all the money holders and all this other stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of politics behind the scenes, and I think that's the exact reason why Fallout 76 came out the broken buggy mess that it did, because they had a deadline that they wanted to meet. They saw pre-order sales and they're like, let's get this shit out. It doesn't matter if it's unfinished. It's buggy. It's a games as a service, and we can get through this. We can get through the shitstorm. I'm guaranteeing you they didn't really know how much of a shitstorm it was going to be, but I know that they knew that it was buggy as hell. What else? Does anybody else have any inputs on that question there?
Real quick, I got a question for you guys on the panel. Like EA, like I think we can all agree EA is in like a severe slump right now. Like when do you guys think it's actually going to come out of that slump? When are they going to do something pro-consumer or something that we can all get on board with?
Anthem. I think Anthem's going to pull
the ride or die game right there.
Yeah, I think Anthem's that do or die game, honestly, for them. And I think they're going to hit it out of the park. I think BioWare is going to impress a lot of people. I think if they do their microtransactions in a good way, I think this game can blow up like Destiny in a good way. But then, again, it's just like EA is behind the scenes. It's like the puppet master, It's like, when are they going to do something stupid?
Dude, it's scary when EA is at the helm, ain't it?
Yeah. Bloody, what's up?
But at the same time, from at least this is just what we can gather from what's been said, what's been kind of seen. Yeah, EA's definitely pushing for certain things, but they are kind of backing away a little bit with BioWare with this, because it's kind of a do or die for both sides. Because BioWare has to ride on this because of the fact that they don't know how they're gonna do with the game and how they'll stand afterwards if it doesn't succeed. As well as if this doesn't do real well and it doesn't have EA written all over it, EA is going to be kind of in the shithole if it has like that bad, hey, they're trying to force way too much in this that isn't very much in there. So it's a double-edged sword on Anthem.
Hey,
I was like, I got good hopes for it, but I mean, it is kind of going towards not just EA, it's also affecting BioWare. So they kind of have to be hands off. Whereas Activision don't give a shit, and they're just gonna put everything in everything.
Yeah, Ron made a perfect point. I don't think they're stressing with how much they make on FIFA and Madden, right, with their Ultimate Teams and all that shit. FIFA was in the top, consistently in the top. Like, that's a global phenomenon. That's a money maker for them. But at a certain point, the company does need to flex. You know what I'm saying? Like, these, if they keep flopping and flopping and flopping, it will hurt their bottom line, but they have more leeway than, you know, typical companies. This is based off of, you know, how much money they got in the banks per se.
Well, their bottom line got slapped with a game that should have thrusted them into the stratosphere with Star Wars. You got Star Wars, and you get raped because of it. That's just terrible. Man.
I think honestly, Disney needs to cancel that contract. I mean, I think there's plenty of other studios that could do a better job, a way better job. You just look at the product. Disney doesn't know what the hell they're doing with Star Wars in general, but when it comes to the video game side, that seems like a home run to me. It seems like if you get anybody with half a brain, you give them those products, those stories, the property, you hit those out of the park. Like Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, those should have been... I mean, I know they sold a lot. I know Battlefront 1 sold a lot, and there's some issues with 2, but those properties should just be in the moon stratosphere with how much money they make and how good they are, you know, so.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that will let you know how dog shit EA is, because they have Respawn Entertainment working on the next Star Wars game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if that comes, like Respawn, I have all the
Respawn's
confidence
awesome.
in the world in Respawn. Yeah, I have all the confidence in the world. If they release a either broken product or a product filled with the loot crates that you could tell EA had a lot of, you know, what do you want to call it? You know, they force things upon them. You could, that's the end all be all right there.
Yeah. Respawn actually made a game that I just played recently, Dante's Inferno. That shit was off the hook, man. And I saw that Respawn made that, and I was like, man, if they could do the Star Wars game like this, holy shit, or something like that with lightsabers and stuff. I think Respawn's gonna bring it back. Hopefully, if they don't get canned before they finish their shit, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens with all this. Thanks for that question. That was awesome conversation. We appreciate the super chat and all that stuff. Let's move on to the next topic. We got some great topics for Nintendo here. He's our resident Nintendo guy. Nintendo has record sales week during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Also, they canceled the Creators Program. Nick, do you want to talk about the Creators Program and how much it screwed you over, or how hard it was to deal with that?
You know, real talk, like, here's the deal. Like, I really don't want to be out here, like, as a Nintendo guy, I love Nintendo, but I don't really want to be out here trying to give Nintendo credit for something they should have done, like, at the beginning. But just for the lowdown, you see these content creators on YouTube, such as Salty, such as people from PlayStation, such as Xbox, Nintendo, people from Sony and Xbox don't have issues with Sony or Xbox keeping them from monetizing their stuff. Salty is able to monetize whatever. You can monetize your own content. With Nintendo, you could not. Nintendo made you sign up for the Creators Program, and then you had to share a pot. You just had to share a pot, and you got a certain share from the pot that Nintendo mandated, pretty much. And it was hard on creators. Creators couldn't do anything, whether it was Twitch or YouTube or whatever. Nintendo has now dropped that policy. You can now monetize your own content through YouTube or Twitch. Now you don't have to worry about Nintendo breathing down your necks or being I was gonna say Hitler, but that's really harsh. But Nintendo being a dictator over your content, right? And so that's cool and all. Yay Nintendo. But I'm not gonna be out here trying to praise Nintendo for something that should have been done, that you shouldn't even have started to begin with. So thank you, Nintendo. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I want to hop in here because, like, you see on the videos that I make or anybody makes, they'll put some gameplay in the background. If you did that and it goes over like 10 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever it is,
not even that, seconds.
Nintendo has an algorithm or whatever they have, and they're like, oh, thanks for your ad revenue. Boom, it goes to them. It's claimed. All the money's funneled in. Even if you make like 5 cents on your video, they're like, boy, you know, they take it. But what's cool about this, now that they're falling in line with everybody else, you're gonna see a lot of bigger creators. Like, I think Ninja did a tease with Smash Brothers, Angry Joe's of the world. even myself, I'm not even up there, but I'm lower, but I can put gameplay for Nintendo. I have a Nintendo Switch. So if I want to play a Nintendo game, put that gameplay in the background, I can do that. Or if I want to talk about Nintendo stuff, I can do that. I didn't even want to touch that with a 100-foot pole before. There's no way. You know what I'm saying? So this opens it up for all of YouTube. Like, you're talking about all kinds of different changes with content creation. A lot of people that wouldn't have done it before are going to do it, and you're going to start seeing changes there, and I think it's good for the industry. What do you guys think of these stories? Anybody hop in if you want to.
I just had a real bad joke incoming real quick at you.
God.
Nintendo, did you feel a lot like Colin Kaepernick with Nintendo's policies? Were they holding you down, man?
Oh my God.
Anyways,
Hey, if you got triggered by that comment, just hit Titan Drago up in his DMs on Twitter. It is in the description.
I get
down
lots
below.
of
He never
DMs.
got his job back. At least I'm getting a paycheck. Or I think I'm getting a
So
paycheck. No.
Bloody,
Yeah, right.
bloody knuckles. What do you think, man? What do you think of this?
I mean, I know where Nick is coming from, and I've seen so many big Nintendo fans talk about this in the past, is that this was honestly one of the biggest policies that really hurt their fans.
Yep.
Because while they wanted to do stuff for it, they didn't want to stream, they didn't want to put videos, because of the fact that, one, for those that were bigger, they didn't want to lose the monetization or anything like that, or those who are more upcoming. This was the biggest blow to those who are the ones who are basically advertising for you. Yes, they're getting paid for it, but they also had a lot of restrictions on how they had to get to that point first before they can even make money off of it. But they are showing off your games because they're the games that they want to play, that they're passionate about, and they want to show others. This was the biggest kind of slap in their face to that, and they should have gotten rid of this long ago. I understand why they did it, but it was still just one of those things that really hurt them for doing it, you know. And the fact that they're walking it back now, how long has this the partner program been around? I think it's been around a few years, right, Nick?
Years, man.
Yeah, it's been a while that it's been. I think it's been like I don't know, like 4, maybe 5 years that I can remember. It's probably longer than that, but it is one of those things that Nintendo always has the longest time when it comes about certain policies and things that they're very archaic in how they do certain things. As you've seen with their online infrastructure, how they do certain aspects, and now how they handle their partners. It's always very old school and archaic, and it hurts them. They really need to learn how to keep up with certain things to really give them that edge to keep pushing them further. Like, don't get me wrong, Nintendo's always going to have their staying power, but there's certain things that do hurt them in
right
effect.
now. They have a new president right now, so hopefully, you know, he has some things and he's with the times. And I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. The old leadership, the old guard is starting to you know, lose their spots here and there. So hopefully, with the new guard coming in, they have a bunch of ideas. Furukawa's already been on record saying that we know that the online service isn't up to par. We are working on improving it. And then he was also the one who removed their creators program policy. So he's obviously the one that's listening right now. So I have a small glimpse of hope that they change their stuff around, but you know, it's going to take a little bit of time.
Chris Cobra says, my Switch didn't work when I got it, sold it, and got Destiny 2 and never looked back. I think a lot of people sold their Switches.
You like Destiny 2?
Oh,
you like Destiny?
You made a very poor decision.
You made a very poor decision.
Yeah. I was like, you like Destiny 2, dog?
Yo,
real quick, does anyone else feel like Nintendo is stuck in the animus?
They're stuck in a lot of ways, but I think they're moving towards some good signs.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's the old guard's leaving, and this new president, he's gonna change a little bit of things. So he's already made 2 major statements with this creators program, and also the first thing he addressed, because he was hired, like he was announced during the summer, but he didn't officially take over until like right around this time because they already had their plans for the holidays, and he's already made that decision and already come out and said we need to improve online. So he's paying attention. Obviously.
You got cross-platform, which I never thought would happen. What else? Just the other things, man. They're doing some interesting things there, and I think that they're moving towards where they need to be. I mean, give them a couple more years, maybe they'll make it happen. But let's move on to the next topic. There's some rumors out there because there's a patent out there for this game cartridge for Sony, and they're like,
you saw that too?
And they're like, oh my god, it's the PSP reborn or some weird shit. Oh, it's the Switch version of the PlayStation 5, and all kinds of videos were being made. You know how YouTube is. But come to find out, this patent was for a children's toy called the Toyo. I don't know what this is, but that's all it was. It wasn't a PSP reborn or some handheld Switch version of the PlayStation.
I think people were just so hyped about it because of that patent that they had a few years back that was like a sort of similar to Nintendo Switch handheld patent. So I think it's very about like, oh my gosh, you're gonna compete with Nintendo. Don't do that.
I know, Punk, Punk, you own the PSP, man. Were you hoping this patent was for a new one, or what'd you think, man?
No, honestly, no, because I mean the PSP was great, and then obviously like it followed with the Vita and shit, and I mean besides the Uncharted game, it just fucking underachieved and disappointed me, and considering I don't even really play the Nintendo that much, at the end of the day, it's like you just kind of feel like handhelds just aren't for you, just because like.
Take it back.
I love handhelds, man.
And don't get me wrong.
Handheld, man. I will send you my address. You ship that thing right over here, dog.
You're not letting me talk. I don't have nothing against Nintendo. So like, it's one thing for me to be like, they made the Switch, and it's just complete shit. Like they made the Vita, and it had great potential, and it's just straight shit though. And that's what I hate about the PS Vita. It should have been more. They could have done more. They didn't support it, and I hate it.
I think what happened with the Vita was Sony had an idea. We want to compete with Nintendo. As we all know, PlayStation is pretty much holding that whole company together. Nintendo kind of can do their own thing. I think what happened was they put out these two handhelds. They didn't do as well as they thought they would. And they were like, well, we can't keep spending money on that. Can it? That's probably what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Like with the support that they put on that and how they canned it and stuff, it's weird that all the customers that would just forget that and be like, man, I can't wait to see this version with the PlayStation 5, you know. In my opinion, they should just stay out of the handheld market, you know what I'm saying?
This Sony Toyo, this was a legitimate toy though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't long ago, I'd say within a year, I made a video about this. Anti-Xbox guys were saying that, you know, Xbox has no games, but they're making toys, you know, because Xbox made some fucking toy. And, you know,
Skylanders.
I put it out on Twitter, and those Sony fans must have forgotten that Sony made a toy dog back in the day, and now they're at it again. And it just so happens that lately Sony has no games, and they're canceling PSX.
I have a news story that might counter that, so you gotta be careful. Yeah?
And there's that, and they make a really early call off for E3 2019. But now I could rub these facts into people's faces on Twitter. I could absolutely do that. But will I?
Titan, I do agree because there's some kind of hypocrisy going on. I think it was Xbox making or Microsoft making that doll. It was like a gamer doll or whatever. That's like a meme now, you know. Yeah, it's a meme now for Xbox. They don't have games, but they have toys and, you know, a doll that plays games because they don't have games. It's one of those fanboy type rhetorics. Who gives a shit, right?
Well, here's the thing. It's like I could rub this in people's faces, but will I?
Nah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And here's why. It's because these are not video game developers that are making these toys. This has nothing to do with the fact that Sony is not gonna go to E3. If Sony took all the people working on this toy and put them into game development, their games would not come out any faster. It's not a big deal. I hope it does just as well. You know, I hope it covers its earnings or whatever, so Sony doesn't need to use its PlayStation profits to make up for their toy division's losses. You know what I mean?
It's all good. I just wanted to bring it up because there's some, you know, people making predictions out there and stuff, but this came to be, you know, rip RIP the rumors. It's just a toy, people, so I just want to let you guys know all about that. Let's move on to the next topic. Walmart Canada at it again, guys. If you guys didn't know, Walmart Canada they dumped this huge leak before E3 about all these games. Rage 2 was one of them. Some other games, and those actually came to fruition. They're at it again with Death Stranding. We haven't heard much about this. We haven't seen much about this, but apparently Canada is leaking this date, and it's in June. They're saying that the Death Stranding game is going to be coming out in June, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but you could take it with a grain of salt. Hashtag that, grain of salt. So it is what it is, you know. Jeff Keighley's talking about it. Kojima's around. People are saying, you know, PlayStation canceled the E3 because they don't have games. Well, this is a game that's coming out, but they did show it at E3 2 years prior, I think, or talked about it, you know. So
I do not believe it, only because that same damn website said Splinter Cell was coming, and I said,
okay,
fucking have it. All right?
Okay.
No.
I only believe it's possible because Jeff Keighley was out here saying, well, there's going to be 10 games announced, and apparently one of them is going to the release date for Death Stranding will be announced at the Game Awards. That's the reason why I believe it. That's the reason why I think it's feasible, because that's been out there. So that's the reason why I think.
I don't think it's coming out in June, personally. It's just one specific game. It's not like a series of games that are being announced.
Don't worry. It's just going to be like Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, where it's just like a 10-minute game.
Shit, I don't know, man. I don't even know what it is now, but...
Jeff said in the chat, Death Stranding might be coming sooner than June. He's the PS guy. That's what I'm saying. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together with the whole, there's going to be more than 10 brand new game announcements, and apparently they're going to announce the release date at the Game Awards. So that's the reason why I'm putting 2 and 2 together.
Chat, what do you think of this leak by Walmart Canada? You think it's legit or not? Bloody, what do you think?
Wait, Nick, you said that that there's a rumor that they're going to announce 10 plus games and their release date and everything at the Game Awards?
No. I don't. They didn't say that. They said they were going to show off world premieres. Isn't that what they?
There you go. Thank you. It was weird. Jeff Keighley worded it wrong, but what's going around in the articles on like Game Fusion and everything is 10 plus new games will be revealed at the Game Awards.
And one of those is Obsidian.
I know one of those is the Obsidian
Chip
game.
says no, not legit.
Okay.
Yeah, one of those is the Obsidian game. So Chip says no, not legit. I'll believe Chips. Chips is the dude.
I mean,
so yeah,
we haven't seen.
I mean, we know there's gonna be at least a few, like, but 10. I don't think 10. Maybe 5 or 6. Honestly,
I'm just saying that's what it just came from. That's where it said from. I'm hoping that it's up there. I want to see Metroid Prime. That's what I hope to see. But
you know, I really don't care when this game comes out. I just want to know, like, what do you guys think? Is this game gonna be good? Like, from what I've seen, I am not turned on at all by this game. Granted, it's PlayStation. Granted, I'm Microsoft. You're turned on.
I'm intrigued, dog. I'm intrigued. I really am intrigued.
I'm not interested at all.
It messes with my brain, and I want to know because like I'm curious about it. But that's it.
It does definitely mess with you. Like, what the hell is this baby doing in a freaking
throat?
Like, what the hell is going on
baby?
Here?
What's been kind of gathered, or at least what's been kind of broken down on the possibility of that, is that the babies that you see, if you notice that when they kind of become seen, is after they plug in a needle that stabs into the incubators or whatever, and basically what's being kind of inferred and looked at is that the babies are clones of the person that is plugging into them, because there's a couple things from the trailers that have been talked about, but the biggest one is like when Sam is talking to one of his other friends, said, be careful about the whatever they're called outside. He said, you'll live, but everything around you will suffer from a blackout. And what they've seen is that whenever someone gets taken, like everything around them gets completely destroyed, but the person's still okay because those babies are like being clones of them.
Yeah, no vets.
So you get taken and your baby in a bottle is left on the ground to fend for itself?
Hey,
like, what the hell?
It immediately like grows into a person. What? Like within
oh my god! Hey,
it's
let's talk.
Weird. Look,
Kojima
what's
is
been-
overrated
Kojima,
as
dog.
fuck, bro. He's weird as
Okay.
fuck. I'm gonna put that out there.
I like the weird as fuck.
Okay, he's overrated. He's
Have you not
overrated.
played Yakuza? Have you not
No,
played Yakuza?
here's the deal. I think
The
that
Japanese are weird as fuck.
yo
They are
Kojima
weird. I'm with you, buddy. I'm
gets
with you, buddy.
he gets the
dying,
red
dude.
carpet rolled out for him, and it's just like I played his games. I'm like, dude, what kind of acid are you dropping? Like, what are you
real.
taking when you're making this shit?
He's making video games, man.
Yo,
The reason he's hailed is the fact of the talent that he had because of his vision with what he created, Zone of the Enders to Metal Gear, and especially people forget that he did Police Knots. Police Knots was a big thing, but the thing is, he's always had an interest in sci-fi and sci-fi. What I mean by that is that the more psychic and paranormal aspects. If you look at a lot of what was discussed from what he had with his director and scriptwriter for Metal Gear is very relevant. If you haven't seen the very last part of Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, okay, there's one scene where Colonel Campbell's freaking out and he's talking about the SSS program or the Solid Snake suggestion program. And basically they're trying to create another Solid Snake, but they're talking about how society is being created and controlled by these mimetic effects due to social media and subliminal messaging that gets spread around. Like, it's very ahead of its time because of the messages that were put into it. That's why he's hailed so heavily, because of the talent that he had around him and his visions for these games.
Yo, Brian.
You know what, real quick, what about
okay.
this? What about this idea? Real quick. So you said that the baby was a clone. It could be a clone. I don't think it's a clone of the person that's carrying it. Maybe it's a person. Maybe they had like because you're basically a messenger in the game, sending this package, right? You're supposed to deliver this fucking baby, I think, to
This shit's
whatever,
weird, man.
and like. It is weird, man. I give up. Fuck it.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying right now, and my brain's like, what the
I think
fuck
he
are
doesn't
you
even know what he's
talking
trying to say
about?
right now.
This baby's in a
trying.
package. It's a clone. You drop it on the ground. It's something. It's just, oh my god, dude. This shit. I mean,
There's a couple different people who I watched who did breakdowns and analysis things and kind of went through and reading on a lot of people's takes on things. There's a lot of different theories on everything because we don't have an actual breakdown.
I mean,
but
you shouldn't have to drop acid before you play a video game to kind of get
I
in the
mean,
mode.
no.
You know
Or
what I'm
even
saying?
drop
If
acid
you're
and
not
try and find
doing-
out what the hell's going on.
Like, I
Look.
mean, it is what it is. I like a deep story, but when you go so far into the rabbit hole, you forget where you are. This shit is almost too deep. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I understand you want people to think about shit. That's fine. In sci-fi, that's good. You leave a lot of this open to the imagination, but at a certain point when you need to put a Rolodex out and figure the shit and like what's going on, what's left and right, man, this is crazy. I think this game.
I think this is for those people that have done hardcore drugs, and a lot of them. That's what I think
Look,
this game is.
if you don't do acid when you play a game, are you really playing the game?
I have never done
just saying.
acid, and yes,
No,
I'm really playing
don't
every
do,
game
don't
I've
do
ever
drugs,
played.
kids.
I mean,
Hashtag
what
don't do
about
drugs.
if the game makes you feel like you're on acid?
I mean, this game is nuts. I think, like I said before, I think it's gonna be a flop or a hit. There's no in
It's
between.
going to be a
here.
hit. It's going to be a hit, dude. It's going to be a
Nick,
hit.
why is it
Everybody's
gonna be a
play this
hit,
game.
dude?
It's going to be so weird. And
Oh my
everybody's
God.
going to play this game, and it's
Okay.
it's going to be a hit, dude. It is. You can already see it coming. Everybody's already like praising this game. It's going to be a hit, and people are going to play this game not knowing what they're watching, and they're going to say it's a good game regardless.
You're right, and that's so fucked up. Like no one has
God,
any
I
clue
played
what
this
it's
game,
about, and they're
it's such a
praising
trip.
it like, "Oh
It
my
was
god!"
such a trip. It's such a trip. It blew my mind. It's game of the year. Like, it's gonna happen, dude. It's gonna happen.
Half the people
I'm
don't
with
even know what the
Ron
hell's
Payton
going
in the
on, dude.
chat.
Hey,
with
Ron
Ron
Payton's Ron Pato's been on the money all night. Shout out to him,
I'm
man.
with Ron Pato.
Hey, let us know. Type of 1 if you think it's gonna be a hit. Type of 2 if it's gonna be a flop. I think it's gonna be a flop, man. I don't even know what the fuck this thing is, man. We haven't really gotten any information. I don't think it's coming out in
This
June,
is
man.
a hipster's gold mine, and hipsters play
Hipster, yeah. Put your
Noof's
beanie
got a
on.
good point,
Go
too,
drink
though.
some,
Noof's-
Starbucks and talk about some weird shit. You know what I'm saying? It'll be a
Noof's
fun
got
time.
a good point though too. In the
Anyone
chat.
wants to talk about the social aspects of mimetic culture, hit me up.
Yeah, the meta culture. So what did Noof say?
He said it's let me check real quick. He said it'll be a hit. It's got Kojima on the box and it's an exclusive. So that's
true.
a really good point.
Good point.
Chalk it up.
I mean, yeah,
Game
that's
candidate
Sony.
in
Let's
2019.
put it this way.
Fanboys literally.
3.
Let's put it this way.
That is their wet dream right there. That is literal jizz.
It's true
for them.
Look, Chip says all you
status.
need is a Starbucks drink you can't pronounce and sit down and play the shit. Exactly.
I mean, play it on the go.
Let's put it this way, all right? Let's put it this way real quick. Should it be a hit? No. All right, next.
Anyway, next topic. Gears of War, man. They're talking about a movie, folks. It's getting a writer. All that good stuff, man. This is getting legit. We had Dave Bautista. He was up at Universal saying that he wanted to play the role of Marcus Phoenix. They're obviously not at that point right now. They're just getting a writer for the script. But this movie is moving into the writing phase. It's going to be a while until it gets out. But this is interesting news. F. Scott Frazier's been penned to script the upcoming movie adaptation for Gears of War, reports The Wrap. Frazier is probably best known for his work on the Vin Diesel actioner Triple X, Return of the Xander Cage. Although I'm not
even the first one.
Yeah, so it was I don't think that one was that good, and then also he put a pen to paper for the movie Collide, which featured Anthony Hopkins and Nicholas Holt, I believe. So anyway, this guy, I don't know, he doesn't seem too prestigious or whatever, but they got a writer for this movie. I would be excited to see it, man. It's either going to be super trashy, which is a high probability, because this game, like, how do you take this game and move it into the movie area without having it look corny as fuck? You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I'm glad that I came back for this, because of the fact that I was talking about this. Here's the reason why. Okay, while he may not have done anything prestigious written wise, the thing is he knows how to create action scenes and do fairly well dialogue, as well as handling good characters. But no, he's just doing the script. And
it's true.
And you got to think about the director. This is the biggest thing, is who's the director. The director is going to be Matt Reeves, who directed War for Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
That man knows how to thematically create a film, thematically very dark. And you're looking at a series like Gears of War. While there's hope, it is very dark. And he knows how to look at that visually. So you're taking a game like Gears of War, which is already a very cinematic game. Yes, it has the interactive because it's a game. There's so much within it that it can be translated well cinematically if it just has the right director and the right script. The script that he does, he knows how to handle action scenes. He knows how to handle dialogue between characters. That's the big thing. But with the director that they have, he knows how to encapsulate that vision while capturing a very bleak and dark world, while still having very humanistic elements, which is the big thing. You're looking at a failing society, humanity being nearly wiped out by the locusts. You're looking at War of the Planet of the Apes. Humans are being hunted and at war with the apes, who have risen up because of the fact that they gained intelligence.
Yep.
It's very easy for them to look at whose talent that they're using to translate that aspect. It's very well done in that aspect. It's just they need the right cast to really push it forward. That's where it comes down to.
They need to get the right actors and actresses, and then they need to tone that armor down so it doesn't look like their legs are fat as hell. Like, I don't think that would look good on screen.
No, they need the fattest armor around.
So anyway, chat, what do you think about this movie? We're gonna go through this real quick. Anybody else have any comments?
Well, Bloody just kind of made me feel a little more comfortable about it, like, because of he went through the research. Because the last time I saw a game that was being remade, it was Mega Man. It was going to be made by the people who did Paranormal Activity, and I was like, oh god, this is going to be awful.
I mean, don't forget, we're also getting that Sonic the Hedgehog film.
Oh my gosh, dude, stop! Here's the deal, man.
Hollywood's out of ideas.
Bloody goes. It depends on who's writing the script. You don't need to write a script. Just play the fucking game and then put that into a movie. It's not that hard. That's what we want as fans.
Hey, look.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
They did that. They did that before.
The game.
No. But they did that before, right? So they actually, I think it was at a film festival. They took all the cutscenes from The Last of Us, like when the game launched, took specifically the cutscenes and made it into a film, and it worked as a movie. Like
Thank
even cutting out all the parts that you play through, it still worked as a film.
I'm just saying that's all you got to do. That's all you have to do is play the game, write down everything that happened in the game, throw your little spiel on it. There's your script. You don't got to go out and write your own script and minus this person out. Yeah, I get
We're
that.
seeing some flops in the chat. Doom,
Here's the deal, man.
Rampage.
The fact that this game could already be a movie if you think about it. Like the way the popularity of
action
story,
film.
it could already be a movie. So I'm in for it as long as it's done right. And Bloody sort of saved me because I was already down on it until he was like,
well, it's
"Yeah,
a
these
video
people-
game movie, so it's gonna flop anyway.
It's true.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
Discussion
it's up
ended.
for that.
Odds are high.
Let's
Just
move
be
on.
known that the day they do a Master Chief Halo movie and it's awful, we go to Hollywood and we burn that place down.
I'm looking forward to that TV show, but we'll move on to the next topic, shall we? Dreamcast turns 20 years old today in Japan. The Sega Dreamcast went on sale on November 27th, 1998. 20 years ago. Can you guys believe it? I didn't own this console, so I don't give a shit. I mean, I know a lot of people did, and they hold this console in high regard.
Dreamcast was way ahead of its time, but it didn't have a DVD player. That was it.
So if you guys owned a Dreamcast, let us know your good memories about Dreamcast. We're going to just burn through this topic. I didn't own it. I don't really give a shit. What about you guys? Would you guys like to see a mini console for the Dreamcast?
No.
No for me.
We have
No,
Sega Ages
everyone's
already.
just banking
We
on
have
the
Sega Ages already. Why do we need a mini console? They're already doing Sega Ages on the Switch. Like, if you want to play Sega games, just go to the Switch and use Sega Ages.
Only thing I got to say about Dreamcast, man, was that NFL 2K was the bomb, though, right?
Okay.
That's
I would
pretty
like
funny.
to see
shit
that
was
back,
way better
actually.
than Madden and anything else, dude. That shit was the shit.
So
Give me a football game that's not under EA's umbrella. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
2K
I'm
is
dying
represented.
for 2K to come out. I'd switch
Facts.
to that real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
hey, chat, type of 1 if you want to see a Dreamcast Mini, type of 2 if you don't give a shit, and we'll move on to the next topic. Fallout 76, Bethesda, man. What are you guys doing? I did a video on this.
Next
Bethesda,
topic. We can burn to that one next.
They're
No,
trying, yeah, they're single-handedly trying to win the internet over as the villains of the universe, man.
This needs to be a Titan Drago exclusive topic.
Yeah, Titan Drago, man. What's going on here? People pay $200 for this Power Armor edition. They advertise this canvas, sweet looking bag. They get this shit in the mail, and it's like it's not even canvas. It's half-assed. I don't know.
It's nylon.
It's nylon. It's not what
Canvas. There's a canvas shortage in the country. Real talk.
Of course, of course.
No, I'm dead serious.
Of
I'm dead
course,
serious. There was
of
a
course.
canvas
It's a
shortage.
good excuse. Good excuse. So anyway, they put this ad out there. People are dropping $200 on this shit game, and then they get the stuff, and it's like false advertisement up the ass, dude. Like, you get this bag and it's a piece of shit. People are emailing the people over at Bethesda, and they're like, hey man, this bag isn't what was on I'm looking at it right now on my screen, and they're like, man, you guys had this picture and it's a nylon bag, it looks all tight, and I got this piece of shit, what can you do? And they're like, well, there's nothing really we can do, it would have cost too much to make the bag because of the shortage, blah blah blah. And then they're like, hey, we're gonna do you a solid, we're gonna give you $5 worth of in-game currency, the atoms or whatever the hell they're called, and that's how they solve the problem. Yeah, $5 worth of atoms, which can buy you like a beehive hairdo for some chick, I think, in that game. So it can't even buy you an outfit, that's worth the damn. So what do you guys think, man? This shit's getting out of hand for Bethesda. They're becoming the villains of the industry right now. It's just bad story after bad story after bad story. Titan, I don't see you playing Fallout 76, man. What's going on, man?
All you, dog.
All right, well, you know what this is? God damn it. This is rubbing salt in the wound. That's what this is doing. Like, I didn't get this crap. I'm sorry if you did. Fallout sucks for the most part until it gets updates. It's plain and simple. It's about it. It hurts my feelings. You guys are not cool right now.
Let me tell you something though. Remember when you said, "What's HR Bomber smoking in the chat?"
That was a little bit different.
What's
No, that
HR
was-
Bomber
he was trying to
smoking in the
compare
chat?
it to a different game. I didn't understand his comparison. That's different. That was different.
HR Bomber
You
was
can't-
right.
No,
Okay.
you can't compare the two.
Anyway, Ryan Landis says, Salty, let everyone know I have some Target canvas bags I'd be happy to give to anyone ripped off with the garbage bag. Yep.
Shouts out Ryan Landis. Ship over here, dog.
So anyway, I've heard some people that paid some good money. Shout out to Mr. Boomstick XL. He paid that, you know, whatever, $200+ for that Fallout edition, and he's just not happy with the game. I'm sure he's not happy with that bag. The only redeeming quality out of that whole Power Armor edition is that helmet. The helmet is pretty badass. It's not worth $200 though. Breaking news. So anyway, what do you guys think? Anything else? Any other comments before?
This is just what makes me sad is Bethesda. Like, if this could have been anybody else, and it would have been funny. I mean, but the fact that it's Bethesda, like, you know, Bethesda was like that last shining beacon, and it makes you sad.
See, it's starting
to
what it's starting to show is that it's sad to see, like, everyone saying that this Bethesda's fall from grace from their first person or their first party studio, because them as a publisher, they're kicking it right because they got Machine Gun Games working on Wolfenstein, which has been solid and not fucked up yet, and they haven't done anything to mess with them, as well as id doing Doom and what they knocked out with the reboot, and now what they're doing with Eternal. On the publisher front, they're doing it right. On the in-house front, oh man, they are talking about, if you want to talk about putting foot to mouth, they straight just shoved their whole leg in there, put a double barrel in their mouth, pulled the trigger, and then lit themselves on fire.
And just remember, guys, that same engine is coming to Elder Scrolls 6 and
Starfield, man. Get ready for it, guys.
And people will buy it.
Real quick, this is my last defense for them, okay? And let's not forget this. Let's all be like harmonized gamers and realize that this is their first multiplayer attempt. All right, if they've got any defense, it's that. And
Sounds
and
like
you know
some
what?
damage from me, man.
Well, it is, definitely is. But but it definitely speaks a
it's
little
all he
bit.
had.
It definitely is.
That's all I have left.
Quit saying true things. It speaks volumes for those people that have done multiplayer and have done it successfully. You know, I guess maybe we kind of take that for granted. Maybe maybe anybody? Maybe yes.
Glass half full. I like it. Anyways, if you have issues, man, if you bought the Power Armor edition, I feel sorry for you, but it is what it is, man. We'll move on to the next topic. There's some juicy PS5 rumors that we're going to talk about. 8K, man. We skipped right over 4K. Fuck that noise.
Yeah.
We're going to 8K and 120 frames per second, and this baby's going to be a solid $300. No, I'm just kidding. The stuff that people are talking about, man, like, it just doesn't make any sense, man. It's pie in the sky type shit. The PS5 is going to be 8K. It's like the adoption rate for 4K is not 50%. I tweeted about this. It's not even close to 50% in the US. People aren't really seeing a reason to upgrade to 4K at this point. So why the hell would you make an 8K system that would cost so much money to target what audience? I mean, what percentage rate would you be targeting here, guys? I mean, the PS4 Pro didn't even do 4K right natively for the most part. And then you're saying the next one's going to do 8K. It's like, it doesn't make any sense, guys. What do you think of this whole rumor situation, 8K?
I think here's the Titan Drago topic. I think here's where I let it loose.
Oh, shit.
Because you know what? You ponies have been clamoring to have the power narrative so bad for so long, like you've become delusional. Like, don't forget, people, like, just because a game is being displayed on an 8K 120 hertz TV doesn't mean that the game is being rendered anywhere near that. You know? It's like, and these people take this info and run with it. They take anything that they can get and run with it. It's like, how desperate are you people? You people have fallen for fool's gold. You bought the cubic zirconia. It's like, but you know what? Keep running with it. I'm gonna love having this laugh at you. Like, who's next on this topic? Like,
first of all, the 8K situation. Do you know how big your TV would have to be to take advantage of 8K resolution? Like, this shit is crazy. Like, what the fuck are we doing here, folks? I mean, we're putting the carriage before the horse. I mean, 4K. Let's do 4K first.
Who has an 8K TV here?
Yeah, who the fuck has a 4K
I mean,
TV?
I know I want to spend $10,000 on an 8K TV. Why?
Hey.
Because I am fashion forward, bitches.
Oh God! You know how
Good
expensive
Lord.
an 8K TV would be? Holy shit!
That's all I
And
got
then
to say. You better put it on layaway.
the console itself, man. And then they're like, yeah, this price is gonna be a solid $400. You guys, it's like,
Dude,
come
sign
on,
me up.
guys.
I'm buying
Not
4.
going to
Yeah,
be
I'll
8K.
buy like 5 of those bitches. You know what I'm saying? And we got a resident tech guy, ZblackRider. He'll hit you with some knowledge on price points for CPUs and GPUs. We got the 20 line that just came out for GPUs, and they ain't hitting 8K. I'll tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit ain't happening, folks. I mean, it's not for a long time, even if the market adapts it, which I don't see the reason for it. 8K resolution, that's like a billboard or some shit. Like, it's huge. Like, the resolution
Jerry
you're
World,
condensing these pixels. It's like, come on, man. I see the difference in 4K televisions when I'm like further away, when I'm at a sports bar or whatever. I can generally tell if it's a 4K monitor or 1080p, right? But it is what it is, right? It's like, you guys are just, it's pie in the sky shit, man. I mean, it's people that don't really know tech saying things that they don't really understand. But anybody else have any comments on this 8K dream situation?
It's not happening. Chill out.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, take a
So,
loan out on your
like-
house for those 8K TVs,
Like,
right?
you guys
like-
thought I was smoking crack. Understanding Kojima, man. They're smoking like some hella good shit if they're believing that we're getting 8K.
8K is
That's all
a
I'm
year
saying.
away from 100% adoption.
I mean,
in the US.
absolutely.
just look at the specs. Apparently, there's going to be it's going to be a Ryzen 8 core in there. Like that
Okay.
was
Hey,
rumor
look,
out.
all I'm
So
gonna say,
does a
man,
Ryzen 8 do 8K? Someone tell me.
A Ryzen 8 core?
Look, the only thing that's doing
120
right now-
frames per second at that.
That was the rumor that I read. It was hilarious.
Look, guys. Obviously, these are the people who can afford a $3,000 quantum CPU. Like, obviously, that's what they're using it for. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Sure.
come on now.
I mean, we
Yeah,
can't
I
even
got
hit
8.
60 frames consistently on the X, but then we're going to hit 120 frames. It's like, what the hell?
Right?
This shit,
Look,
yeah,
all I'm
8K
saying-
portable.
all I'm gonna
8K
say-
portable.
man,
Next up. Yeah,
No, let
right.
'em-
guys.
Let them
all the
keep
ponies,
running with
whatever-
that narrative. Let 'em
Everyone
keep
who's
it.
believing we're getting 8K 120, listen to me. Whatever you're smoking, I want some. Send it to my
Send it
address.
to me.
You can send it to 1234. Go fuck yourself, street.
Yeah.
Okay?
Hashtag don't do drugs,
want-
kids.
Yeah.
Do
You
all the
smoke
drugs.
that, you might die, man.
Do
That's like
all
some
the
real
drugs.
shit right there.
Anyway,
All the drugs.
shout out to Lethal Pop in the chat. He said Dealer did a great video on that. You guys should check it out. Dealer
did, yeah.
Gaming. He's a resident tech guy. He knows the ins and outs when it comes to CPUs, GPUs.
Switch Pro with 8K. I heard
Yeah,
that.
the Switch Pro 8K portable battery lasts 20 lifetimes coming to you.
I'll be happy with
It's solar powered.
like 1080 on a consistency in 60 frames.
It's funny that Lethal said that because I actually left a comment in Dealer's comment section saying that was the best video he's made in a while, and it really is.
Nah, he's up in all his game, and it's awesome, man. I said this before. He was the first dude I watched in the community, so it's awesome to get to know him and all the people in this community. It's cool to see like the people improve their content over time, and it's awesome, man. Go check his channel out. But yeah, like this is not gonna happen, man. It's not going on. It's rumored that Sony's kind of holding back some of the PS4 games for the launch of the PS5 in order to match what the next Xbox is going to be launching with, because Xbox has a lot of titles coming from these new studios that are going to be around that launch window. And then PlayStation supposedly has, they have a lot of titles that they've announced or not announced, and they're kind of holding, they all are just going to figure out when each other is going to launch, and they have to have launch games, right? So it should be interesting if they are holding games back. I honestly think Death Stranding is not going to be coming out till 2020, but that's just me. There's rumor of that 2019 situation, and then we have what was that hack and slash game called? Ghost of Tsushima. I think that's going to be a PlayStation 5 game as well. What else did they got on there? Yeah, I think they are holding their games back technically for the launch, because I think Xbox is going to be hitting the ground running with Halo and some other games that they're going to be dropping with their launch. So it should be interesting to see what kind of traction both systems get, you know, which ones are going to be backwards compatible, which ones are going to be backwards and forwards compatible. So it's going to be interesting to see that, you know, tug of war back and forth. What do you guys think? Is PlayStation holding some of these games back?
Well, I think next generation is going to be the end all be all for are people brainwashed or not, because all the signs are leaning towards Xbox. Xbox has they have the all the services. You can't say PlayStation has better services. You can't say that. Supposedly the Xbox is going to be the most powerful console, so they have the power narrative. Like, what narrative is PlayStation going to have? Can anyone name any? Like,
I mean,
no.
If they have backwards compatibility and
VR,
VR,
yeah. That's about it. I mean, can anyone else think of any other?
I mean, we could be honest and say that Xbox needs to step its game up with their games. The game offering, games offerings for first party has been subpar this generation.
Yeah, but I think they've taken more than enough steps to show you that they've taken
the steps, but they need to produce results, right? All we're at right now is we're in the preparation stage. We actually need to see results. And just because you have a huge studio doesn't mean it's going to get huge results. I mean, they have a lot of good things going for them, but they have to present results to their base.
Well, here's backup argument to that. It's been said that Microsoft is offering these studios, you know, pretty much whatever they want. Like, hey, make the game you want to make. Budget is not a problem. Like, if they don't make a good game, that's on the studio. I don't even think that, like, what can Xbox do other than give them everything, all the resources, all the potential? Like, if a game company creates a failure product that with all the resources they need, that's on the game company. That's not an Xbox problem at that point.
So Stephen Roush says
it kind of does become an Xbox problem because
it's not.
Go ahead, Punk.
If you're a coach in the NFL,
let Punk talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, I get what you're saying. It makes sense, but just because you have all the money in the world given to you, if you put out shit, what are people gonna say? Like, yeah, the developer sucks, and like they're gonna say, oh man, why the fuck did Microsoft purchase that shitty ass studio? It just falls back on them.
It reeks of desperation on their part.
Yeah,
there's always a negative and a positive way to look at anything. And I think that's on the more negative side of looking at things, like because to me, like, they're giving them everything. What more can they do? They cannot do anymore. Like, they want freaking, like, I'm seeing people getting them coffee every day. Like,
I'm seeing a lot of
people getting them coffee.
I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat, like Others Inc. and who else was it? Stephen Roush, saying that they disagree with my opinion. That's fine. Here's the deal. A lot of people don't want to use Metacritic. That's fine. But I mean, that's the litmus test. I got to say that, like, where has this first party banger been this generation? Like, please tell me which one it was. Halo 5 wasn't critically acclaimed. It sold well, but, you know, where's the new IP that is a banger? Like, you talk about 360, you had Gears of War that came out. Where's the Gears of War type new IP that was with Xbox? I know this will trigger a lot of people that are it is what it is. I just want to know which one that was. It's non-existent, you know, like, we didn't have a new IP this generation that was a must-buy for everybody in the market that sold well. When you look on the other side, you look at, PlayStation, they had Horizon Zero Dawn. It was up for Game of the Year, and you could say, well, Game of the Year is biased or this and that, but you look at the Metacritic scores, you look at how many copies it sold, it did very well. Like, Microsoft is missing that new IP for the first party that is a must-buy, in my opinion, and they need to up their games when it comes to how critically acclaimed they are, because, you know what I'm saying, like, scoring in the 60s on Metacritic. And again, I'm going back to Metacritic, but that's how I need to go back to, man. That's what we judge our games by in the industry. You're looking at the Red Dead Redemption situation, Red Dead 2, tons of people that said that they didn't want to use Metacritic or going back and referring to Metacritic scores when it comes to Red Dead 2, right? They were super happy about it. So it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either go by Metacritic or you don't. I think that Microsoft was lacking this generation due to funding. I don't think the game's business was a priority, and it showed with a lot of, like, in that gap, there's like a 3-year window from 2014 to 17-ish before Game Pass came out, where the funding was lacking. They're canceling, studios, closing studios, canceling games, Scalebound situation, Lionhead Studios, all that shit. All of that was during that time.
Thing is, it's literally like a night and day difference from when Phil Spencer took over. And if you don't see that, then you're blind. You're absolutely blind. It's like, how can you argue against that? It's a night and day difference.
So Chris Cobra says people didn't like Rise. I loved it. That's fine, but was Rise that type of game, that like God of War type of game that sold? It's just, you can like a game, I could like a game, but like there's a difference between like a Rise and like having Halo Combat Evolved, or like some game that like people will remember for generations, like a Red Dead 2. I know that's multiplat or whatever, and these games that you just look at and you're like, yeah, that is a must buy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that Microsoft had that this generation.
That's the perfect example has to be Sunset Overdrive. I mean, it's made by a great developer, and there's people that loved it, but not the mass population loved that game. Like, I didn't play it personally. It didn't sell me. And like you said, you need that God of War-esque game that you're like, I gotta buy that shit. And Sunset Drive didn't do that.
So
the thing is, God of War has been a staple though. Like that, and that was a new IP. So
Christina's saying, well, Salty, it sounds more like you're looking for validation from a title. What I'm looking for is a return to prominence for some of the IPs that Microsoft owns. Because let's be realistic, Gears of War 4 wasn't up to par when it comes to, when you're comparing it to Gears 1 or 2. It kind of fell off. Halo has fallen off when it comes to the public eye, or how popular that title was. When Halo came out in the beginning, it was all over the news. People were standing in line. It was a must buy, selling out everywhere. It's crazy, right? But if you look at the Halo franchise now, it's nowhere close to where it was back then. I want it to return to the situation because it's all about competition, and I think they can. That's why they went to back to the drawing board, made a new engine, and Halo Infinite's coming out. I think Halo Infinite can bring it back to that level.
For sure, they're changing it up. Yeah, exactly.
So, and then another question is like, well, where is PlayStation's Halo? Do they need it? I mean, do they need it? You could go back and forth whether these companies need to cover all bases. I mean, there's a saying: be really good at one of your talents. Don't be average at all your talents, or you'll be passed by, right? If you're playing NBA basketball, you're really good at shooting, you'll probably play in the NBA for like 10 years, right? But if you're just average across the board, rebounding and all this other shit, you're probably not even going to make a team, right? So if you figure out what you're really good at and you do really good at that, then you can be successful in the industry. Now, whether or not you're targeting as many gamers as you can, that's up to discussion. But I think overall, Microsoft is a more well-rounded publisher because of the things that they offer multiplayer-wise. And if they pick up the single player, which they will, I think they'll have way more to offer when it comes to their first-party games. But at this point, I think that PlayStation takes the cake right now when it comes to how critically acclaimed their games are. So I want everybody to take this tape and cut it that said that I'm an Xbox homer and I do nothing but shit on PlayStation. And I want you to cut this and replay this because I've been going to bat for PlayStation games. I say what I think, and it doesn't matter what console it is or what business it is. If I think that way, I'm going to tell you. And like I said, it is what it is. Stay salty is the mantra, and that's what I think. Anybody else have any thoughts on this situation? No? Okay. All right. I mean,
I will say this though, and I agree with you about how you speak because it's very true. Yeah. And while there have been no big games, that some people will say, like Gears 4 was a great return to form, but yeah, it wasn't groundbreaking for Gears, and a lot of people didn't like that. Gears or Halo 5, was a massive polarizing game in the franchise for a lot of people, especially coming off Halo 4 with the story that left and how people were feeling from that. A lot of people said that all their new IPs were lackluster and lacking, from State of Decay to Sea of Thieves and everything else. Yeah, there was no real breakout smash hit for Microsoft. That doesn't entail that we won't see one. A lot of people are saying Rise was that for them. Sunset Overdrive was that for them. Even Quantum Break, but a lot of people still did let those games fail because they looked at the Metacritic aspect of it, which was the sad part. Yeah, some of those games weren't. Quantum Break was enjoyable, did have its issues, but it was it is what it is. I'm not going to go into details about this because we've gone this in the past, but the issue is that, yeah, there was no big breakout that completely sent everyone overboard, that like this was the must have. And that does hurt. It does hurt them, unfortunately, but we can see that coming in time. That's one of those things that they're definitely setting up to do and fix here later on. Yeah. But as you said, when you're talking about PlayStation games, I've gone on record multiple times stating in the past that their first party studios and the games that they develop and what they have always been phenomenal. There's no denying that their single player stories and what those studios have made are anything less than great. The only biggest thing is some of their old titles from PS3 coming over. We saw how bad Killzone did, yeah, when that came over. A lot of people didn't enjoy Infamous too much, which sucks because the first two were really enjoyable. A lot of people felt kind of they're about Second Son. I have yet to play it. I want to because I like the Infamous series and those stories because they were really interesting. But we saw how they were trying to do something different. So they've always had that single player story down, but they don't have multiplayer at all. They've never succeeded. Look at all their multiplayer games and how those did. Look at what they did with MAG. MAG was their big open world, 256 player shooter or whatever, and that died after a couple months or I think a year. Killzone didn't have a big online shooter. I know Resistance had an online multiplayer, and that never really took off. It was always about those stories for those games. They never had their big multiplayer breakout. Punk, shut up! I love to slap at the desk.
We're gonna have to tie your hands down when you're on the podcast.
What's funny is I think it's just my mic because I'm literally tapping it barely with just 2 fingers.
You're gonna have to just pretend like
get a boom stand.
Yeah, boom stand's good too. But anyway, and it is what it is, man. I'm not gonna tiptoe on lines, man. I say what I say, and I appreciate everybody that watches the channel. But you guys don't expect me to kind of pander to the audience, right? It's not who I am. It is what it is. It's my opinion. I think that the offering this generation has been lackluster, man. You look at the other side, the Breath of the Wild that came out on Nintendo, Super Mario Odyssey. You could say what it is. It's a single one-off experience. Those were outstanding games, Metacritic scores, sales.
We are talking about Mario and Zelda, though.
Okay, those are established franchises, but they evolved, right? They changed those games. True. And that's what Halo needs, man. And people saying that Halo and Gears aren't relevant, they are relevant. And I've said as much. I said Gears could surpass Halo if they do it right. I think this Gears is going to have a chance to be nominated for Game of the Year. That's my opinion. I think Gears is taking it up a notch. I think Halo is going back to the drawing board, which they do. Halo arguably is one of the biggest franchises in existence, man. That they're making a TV show out of that. Iconic character with Master Chief. It has the ability to do everything that a God of War does or a Mario or this and that. Hey, they need to take it up a notch is all, So.
The only way those games are irrelevant is if you have only a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Or only a Nintendo.
So it is what it is, man. I think they're ramping up. I think Xbox is positioning themselves extremely well. They have the funds. I think they just surpassed Apple when it comes to overall value of company and net worth. So they have the resources, and they're going to be putting those towards Game Pass. Game Pass is their baby. I think that this is an industry changer. I think that the gaming industry has to take notice of Microsoft, man. They're already a top 5 publisher making billions of dollars, not having good, critically acclaimed games. Just imagine what's going to happen when they start dropping bangers, first party, Halo Infinite, day one in Game Pass. The offerings we're getting right now, which we won't even be able to talk about, but Strange Brigade just got thrown into Game Pass because they wanted to, right? That's right after they announced 16 games at XO. So they continue to put third party in there. First party is going to ramp it up, and this Game Pass situation, I mean, how are you going to pass that up when you get all these third-party games and you get day-and-date bangers like Halo Infinite and all this other stuff that's coming up? So I think they're positioned well, and that's going to be the last topic for the night. We try to keep it about an hour and a half tonight. Sorry about the technical difficulties earlier on. We won't have those more than likely next week. It was kind of a trial run. I was trying to do stuff behind the scenes, kind of make the stream private, but you never know what's going to go down until you're actually talking in the mic on Google Hangouts in your live. So thanks for bearing with us there. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for all the people that are Patreons and members of the channel. Appreciate all you guys. This was an awesome night. I really missed doing this last week, even though it was Thanksgiving and it was good to spend it with the family. I miss you guys. You guys are awesome. I missed the panel, miss talking to you guys. So anyway, without further ado, let's get back with our newest returning member, Bloody Knuckles. Where can people find you?
Man, they can find me on my channel over at Bloody Knuckles, youtube.com/Bloody Knuckles. The O's are zeros, the E's are 3, and of course it ends in a Z. They can catch me on the Smash podcast, which we're currently running Saturday nights for the time being at 7:30 Central Time. As well as they can also catch me on Friday nights on the GRG podcast over there with K-Meg and the crew at 8:30 Central. And of course, they can find me on Mixer, Twitter, Facebook, all at Bloody Knuckles.
Thanks for being here, man. It's good to have you back, brother. Nintendo Direct, where can people find you?
You can find me youtube.com/Nintendo Direct. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Nintendo Direct. The I in Direct is a 1 on that one. And yeah, you'll see me, catch me on there streaming on Twitch and doing what I like to try to do for the most part is daily news, live news segments on YouTube. It's always a fun time. Come hang out. It's only about 30 minutes long for your ride home from work, all that good stuff. And yeah, man, it was great to be back. Like I said, man, it's yeah, I missed being on the podcast last Thursday. That's why I texted you. I was like, man, this feels weird not having, not having to talk to you guys,
it's true,
for this week. So it's great to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back with the brothers. T.S.G.P. Mustache Ride 69. Where can people find you?
Matt, they can find me on Twitter at PunkadishGaming and Xbox Punkadish, and also drinking a shit ton of coffee every day. No, it was great being back, man. Like you guys all said it yourself, man. Like you missed the panel. Love talking games with you guys. Again, same old problems exist over here on the East Coast. Can't play no damn games with you guys at any moment, what it seems like. But great to be back, man. Had a blast, and welcome back, Bloody, man. It's cool to have you back on the panel, and don't ever play that music again.
I will play it every time I come out. It is my intro.
Also, the closet, you can play it when you come. No.
Titan Drago, where can people find you?
Everything at Titan Drago, everybody. Xbox Live, YouTube, Twitter. I'll be on Breakfast with Boom again tomorrow morning, and I'm going to rage at work from being tired as hell from no sleep. But other than that, welcome back, Bloody. Rip Bloody's desk. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning bringing the gammon back to sense.
Yes. I love that. So that's going to do it for the Saltiest Gaming Podcast. Episode 62 was a blast. I'd like to thank everybody personally for being here. You guys are awesome. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new. Hit that bell icon. And as always, stay salty, my friend.